is good to be home. Thank you. And thanks for this, Joyce. Yeah, I'm kind of a pacer. I don't stand still well at all. So I like to move around. And when I think and when I write, I tend to do a lot of this. And a lot of answers come and a lot of things come to me, so I'm a lot more comfortable in this mode. Before we get started, I want to take one moment to point something out to you. Imagine that you or I, poof, you woke up, God said, look, we're going to make you a unity minister. We're dropping you in the middle of this town, somewhere in the middle of nowhere, and you need to put a church together. The first thing you're going to need to do is find a music director. And so you're going to need to find someone who plays the piano and is available on Sunday morning and wants to do it for little to no money. Also, times have changed, and we don't want a ragtime piano player or a classical piano player. We want someone who has a contemporary flavor, isn't afraid of other sounds and styles of music. So we're starting to get kind of a tall order. Oh, and you should be able to not only stand hearing this person sing, it should be a pleasurable experience when they sing or lead the congregation. Ooh, that's getting to be a tall order. Oh, and it should be somebody really nice that you get along with, who gets it, who is a pleasure to be around, and is at the core a minister himself or herself.
Amen.
Do you have any idea what a wonderful find you have here in your music career? Oh, yes. I mean, my God. You've got such a gift here, and just make sure that you love on her with everything she deserves, because that's just has a huge blessing in this place. So I just want to talk to you about this place. I became a music director here when I moved back from Nashville, which is a whole other backstory in itself. But when I came here from a Unity church with 500 in attendance on Sunday morning, I checked to see what the local Unity church was, and there was one meeting in an office over a health food store with about 8 or 9 people. And they didn't even have an instrument, and so they invited me to lug mine up the stairs every week and play a couple songs. But with the vision that we could have more, and with people who co-conspired with me that we could have more, this is here. You are here. And everything that you feel when we do a beautiful song like Blessed Always, when we open with Surely the Presence, and you look around this room, you know somebody who needs this. Yes. Somebody you know is absolutely thirsty for this place. They may be fed up with their traditional religion, or they may have no religion. But there aren't many people who wouldn't like to be just a little bit closer to God in some way in a community environment. I not only invite you, I challenge you to be on the lookout for that person. They won't come out and say, you know, I've been meaning to tell you, I've been feeling a little left out, and you're going to recognize something in what they say, in their attitude, in their body language, in their eyes, that would lead you to say, you know, I've been meaning to tell you, I go to this really cool little church, it's like a great environment, and invite them. That's how this place will not only survive, but thrive. Do it for me. All right. Why am I here? I have no idea. Again, kind of a long backstory to it, but I began penning a book called Spiritual People Skills. And it was back in late 2010, late 2009, I think it was, that I predicted it would come out in April of 2011. Still not here. Still no book on the shelf called Spiritual People Skills. What's going on with that? So finally I made an announcement that it would be actually shipped on November 15th. And a bunch of my friends went, oh, I had no idea you were that far along. I said, I'm not. Now I have no choice. I gotta like put that kind of pressure on myself. So that's where we're at. Publisher calls once a week. How's it coming? It's coming. It's coming along. But I started thinking about some of the things that held me back. But before we get to that, I think I should give you just a little bit of backstory on how it came to be and why I felt the urging to do it. I was from a fairly traditional faith. My dad was big-time Catholic, and he had the relatives that pulled out the what are those, beads and stuff at the prayer time, and poured a big shot of whiskey to go with it, and it was an interesting introduction to religion, and kind of a scary one for me, honestly. I was confirmed Catholic and was part of a youth group, and actually have some fond memories of some of those things. But it was my mom, who I don't ever recall setting foot in the church, that really gave me my God connection. And I was playing, and I was by myself as usual, and I was kind of looking up in the clouds and thinking about, I guess God was supposed to be up there, right? That's where he lives, right? Right. Some kind of big throne, and he's really angry and mean and white with a big beard. I don't know, that's what they wanted me to believe. Anyway, I all of a sudden I was having this really weird moment at 4 or 5 or something, and I kind of just thought, it sounds like a bunch of baloney. And so I went inside, and my mom's doing dishes, and I just said, very matter-of-factly, Mom, I don't think I believe in God. And she didn't get angry, she didn't yell, she didn't throw anything. She said, oh, I'll bet he's very sad to hear that. And I went, he heard that? She said, well, of course he hears everything. She just went back to washing dishes. But I kind of went back outside and playing with my little Matchbox cars, and I'm looking up at the clouds, and I remember vividly, I'm 53, so I was 4, right? It's almost 50 years ago. I remember looking up and going, sorry. My mom gave me the greatest. She could have said, oh, you're going to go to hell if you say things like that. And she could have made me fearful. No, he's sorry to hear that. A very close and personal relationship. Again, I could be here for hours with all the backstories that will explain how I got to various places in my life. But I went to, frankly, a rather prestigious school for marketing. You okay? Good job. Nice catch. Spider alert. Now, had Laurie been here, there would have been some screaming. Nice. Good job. How about a hand for our in-house exterminator? That was very smoothly handled. Got it. Got it. I went to a great school for marketing, and it was very difficult to get into, and I think my dad was freaking out at how much it cost and whatever, but I soon had a nervous breakdown at 18 and couldn't function. I was months unable to even make a phone call or function in any way, because what I wanted to do was be a musician, some kind of entertainer, actor, entertainer. I wanted to be in entertainment. And my guidance counselor and some logical people in my life told me all the reasons why that was not a good idea. And the guidance counselor said, well, you're going to have to audition. Do you read sheet music? I said, no. And I still don't, by the way. Oh, well, you can't be a musician if you don't read music. Oh. I mean, it's like being told, by the way, Shirley, you're going to need to stop reading. That's not working for us anymore. Right. And so I listened to all the reasons why I shouldn't do what my heart told me to do. And I went for this marketing school and fell apart big time. And much to my dad's dismay, I dropped out and hung around for many, many months trying to figure out what I could possibly do for a living. And when I was a little kid, like 13, 14 years old, I had a part-time job playing the organ in the mall. Remember that? Any of you old enough to remember when they had organs in malls? Oh yeah, hello. I was that guy. Except I was this big, about that wide, and had flaming orange hair. So people would stop and go, "Oh my God, he's so cute!" And the salesman would grab them. And they'd be walking out of the store dazed like, "Oh, why did we just buy an organ?" And so I was walking through the mall, and the manager recognized me years later and said, "Hey, you want a job?" I said, "Okay." But he didn't tell me you had to sell stuff to make any money. And initially, I was just so glad to be like not laying around, not shaving every day, and being able to function that I was excited to be there. And I was around musical instruments. So just based on that enthusiasm, I was selling stuff like crazy. Then the owners decided they were so impressed that they would teach me to sell. Oh, cool. Okay, yeah, well, they sent me to classes, I read all these books, did all this stuff, and guess what? I stopped selling because I knew it all. I wasn't just talking from my heart anymore. I read books like How to Win Friends and Influence People, Dale Carnegie, which is actually, if you take the context of people skills, it's excellent. Simple things of how people like to hear their names when you talk to them, right, Betty? I mean, it's just a pleasing thing to be recognized and know that person knows about you. But every now and then you'll undoubtedly meet a salesperson of some kind that will say, "Shirley, you know, Shirley, it's really great, Shirley, that you're here, Shirley. And Shirley, the reason," you know, and you go, "Oh, okay, you read the damn book too, you know." Stop. But there were all these people skills that I was learning in a sales environment that were good for me. They were helpful, but they were with an agenda. And I guess there's some circumstances where maybe that's good. I don't know what it is any of you may do for a living. Some of you may sell insurance. Some of you may sell automobiles, whatever it is, real estate. There might be reasons that those are all good things, and I get that. And trust me when I say, I never took a vow of poverty. I completely believe in that we are given the keys to the kingdom, and I believe in abundance. My dream cars are in the garage, and I don't apologize for it. God gave that to me, and I paid for it, and there's all kinds of reasons why it's all coming together. So when I say something that is like these people skills have an agenda, I don't mean that having abundance, making sales, and making money is negative, because it's not. I'm just suggesting that there's more to it than that. At the same time, someone that I had much regard for handed me a book and said, "Kid, you need to read this." And I couldn't put it down. And if you've never read it, you need to go get it. It's Spirituality 101, in my opinion. Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, The Power of Positive Thinking. It's like not having read Dick and Jane if you haven't read that book. Get it. It's an easy read. It's common sense. It's plain old language, and it's a lot of cross theology in there. Although a lot of it is Christian based because Dr. Peale was so. But I really admired it, and I found something that after I read it, see if this sounds familiar to you. After I read it, I wanted more. More.
Yeah.
Any of you been through that? I'm guessing so, if you have a bookstore here that thrives as it does. And one thing led to another, and I connected with Wayne Dyer in a big way. And Wayne's books really spoke to me because he has a style that's very similar to mine in terms of just kind of writing in very, very plain, relatable English. And I really enjoyed Wayne's books. There's a little kind of side story here. They're always